Welcome to the Healthier Tech Podcast, the show about building a healthier relationship with modern technology. Now here are your hosts, R. Blank and Stephanie Warner.
Therese, or T, Forton-Barnes, is a household toxins health specialist and the podcast host of Green Living with T. She is an entrepreneur, activist, educator, matchmaker, and event consultant. She raises awareness of the dangers of chemical exposure, which have been linked to cancer, autoimmune disease, and other illnesses. She helps you design a non-toxic house to lower your risk of illness and toxic poisoning, improve your chances of living a long, healthy life, and provide a safe environment for you and your family. Therese founded T's Organics, a line of healthy household cleaning products for you in your home. She spends her time in her beloved hometown of Buffalo, New York, where I'm sure it is toasty warm right now, with her husband Tom and Australian Labradoodle Murphy. Welcome to the Healthier Tech Podcast, T.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's great to connect with you again. I really enjoyed our chat before on your podcast, so I'm super happy to repay the favor. I'd like to start with what I think is the most pressing question, which is I've been through your website and I didn't see any photos of Murphy.
Oh, he's all over because he has his own Instagram page.
Yeah.
All right.
He does. Oh, I can't believe I don't have him on my website.
I mean, maybe there are some, but I couldn't find it.
You might be right. I have to go back and look. He's like my business partner. He sits right next to me the whole entire time. But thank you. I'm going to change that.
I and the guest can learn something from
Sure, absolutely. I love it too.
So we like toxins are something we often talk about on this show. And I realized, I know this is a question I could answer by going to the dictionary, but I realized I never asked this question of our guests who specialize in toxins. And I thought I'd like to start today's real part of the interview by asking, what's your working definition of a toxin?
So that is interesting because it's very broad, right? But my working definition of a toxin is something that is added to a product or food that you really don't need in your life and your body that could cause havoc to your health. So there's so many toxins out there. Some we can't get around. You walk outside the house, there's toxins coming out of our cars. But in my life, toxin are things that we can avoid, and you should try to avoid as many of them as possible.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's something so part of the definition is that it's something that can be avoided.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
I like that.
So that's a good
we have
choice.
And we have choices.
That's
key.
Yeah, no, because increasingly, and maybe this is the cynical side of me talking, but I've really come to view everything in life is effectively a toxin. But to your point, if you start to narrow it down as to the things that actually can be avoided, then it really gives more meaning to the word, and it kind of empowers you as the consumer and as the decision maker. So how did you get into your work with toxins and as a household toxins health specialist?
So I go way back to my days of being raised here in Buffalo. My mother, back in the 60s, was raising us in a non-toxic world and kept us cleaning with vinegar and baking soda and organic food. And no, we're not going to eat at McDonald's, and no, we're not going to have fast foods. And that was our way of life. And we shopped at a little co-op, which we still shop at to this day here in Buffalo. And then as I started getting older, I started realizing we were kind of the odd ones, and getting a little bit teased about it here and there, kind of called us granola heads, but that was what I knew. I came home and ate hummus and stuffed grape leaves and apples and oranges, and that's how we were raised. And then I went to college, and I decided when I went to college, I wanted to open up a large health food store that would show everybody about how great all these products are that we're using, And you know that health food store as Whole Foods, but I never opened up my health food store, unfortunately, because I was a party planner. And I was also definitely the black sheep in my family when it became, planning parties in our house. But nonetheless, I know two totally crazy different things. But so past 38 years, I've been planning events here in Buffalo, but throughout those years, I have not lost touch with what I've really wanted to do. And that has been helping people get toxic chemicals out of their homes, and cancer patients would come to me, and I was just doing things on the side for free. And I kept saying, I've planned over 700 events, and I really want to take that next step in my life and really help people avoid all these toxic chemicals. And I'm so angry at the companies that are still using them, and so sad at the amount of people that are thinking these products are okay, and then hearing of people getting cancer left and right, close people that I know that have no idea about so many of these chemicals, and not just cancer, but so many other things, and
Chronic disease in general.
chronic diseases, so that's where I am.
So I'm going to jump around here a little bit, but
Sure.
I see a nice little segue there. So I understand that you didn't found Whole Foods, but you did found a line of organic products.
Yes.
And that takes, as someone who runs a product company, that's like a big step. That's not like, I do event planning, I'll just start. So like that took some serious motivation.
Yes, it does. It did. I definitely have the entrepreneurship bug.
Okay.
And I'm constantly doing things like that. But I was making my own all-purpose cleaner and giving it away as gifts. And it got to the point where everybody just wanted more of it. And why don't you just start a line? I'm like, okay. And then somebody put me in touch with the right person here in Buffalo. And that does it. Actually, we came up with our recipe, our ingredients, everything, labels, bottles. And that's how it came to be. And then 3 room sprays, and hopefully some more things down the line. So, we're starting off small, but the all-purpose cleaner, that's about all I use in my house. So
that's great. So how do you get these made? Like, do you make them yourself?
No. I have a manufacturer here who does that for me.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
And you sell those through your website?
Yep. On the website online. Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. We ship them all over the country. So we're tiny right now, but I'm in the process of but growing it. So taking baby steps.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what makes your going to the cleaner? It sounds like that's your primary product. What makes that what makes that a special cleaner?
So that, first of all, it's in a glass jar because we use essential oils, organic essential oils. So it's a combination of organic vinegar, purified water, and 7 different essential oils. Essential oils are so powerful, but yet so wonderful when it comes to cleaning things. So the 7 different ones that, if I can remember them all: lemon, wild orange, rosemary, ginger, and a few more that I can't pick out of my head right now. I should know these quickly, but they all have antibacterial properties. Most of them do antibacterial properties, antifungal properties, and antiviral properties. So everything's in a beautiful, I think it's over my shoulder, although we're on a podcast. So, and they're in blue cobalt glass jars. So recycle, reuse. We have a little jar that you can order to pour it in there and keep using the same jar over and over and over. So, and companies that say they have essential oils, but they're putting them in plastic containers, they need to be in glass jars. Can you, effective.
That makes intuitive sense to me, although I don't know the science behind it, but for me and our listeners, can you explain why that difference between glass and plastic is so significant when you're talking about products like this?
So the glass, number one, but dark glass, because the sun, light can affect essential oils, and same with plastic. So it can break them down and they're not as effective. So they really need to be in dark glass containers. Now, plastic, do I need to say anything more besides buying anything with plastic? Do we need plastic in our lives? The amount of plastic?
I just read a study, and I'm talking about, like, I didn't read the study. I read a headline and an article. I know it's very important to separate those two out. I didn't read the actual study, but I read an article just yesterday about a new study that shows now that eating one freshwater fish now includes an annual load of PFAS, the forever chemicals that come from plastic, and that's just from one freshwater fish.
Yes.
So no, you don't need to explain that, I guess. So, and with the glass, you have it set up to be obviously reusable. So to
reusable, exactly, and they're beautiful too. So I may say so myself. So I keep mine on the counter. I don't have to put mine underneath the counter because they're really a beautiful blue cobalt glass. It's perfect to put on your counter.
Awesome. I kind of want to jump into this topic a little bit because I'm concerned about toxins in the household, but it's so hard to get away from them because it seems like overwhelmingly, like there's just so much. It's like, do you just get rid of everything? And then what do you do? Like, is there a specific place that you recommend somebody to start who's just in this consumer world of everything has a million chemicals that you can't pronounce and you don't even really know what they are? Like, how would you simplify this journey for someone to get started?
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And that's important for everybody to know and understand, that you take baby steps. The most important thing is that you take steps in the right direction of starting to understand, what are you bringing into your house? What is on that label? If you went shopping and all of the products that you went out to buy were turned around and you weren't looking at the front of the label that they put all the pretty stuff on and flowers and lemons, and you look at the back of the labels, you would be shocked, and you would be more aware of what you are using. Because anything you bring in your house, whether it's cleaning supplies, anything made of plastic, shower curtains, food, things that you eat, things that you clean with, personal care products, all of these chemicals, you have to just be aware of where are they going? Are they going on your floor? Are you swallowing? Are you eating them? Are you putting them on your hair, your skin? Are you shaving with them? And the list goes on, and it's daunting. It's overwhelming. Trust me. I know. I help people with this, but it's taking one thing at a time. What I have everybody start with are your cleaning supplies and your laundry detergent, because these are things that are being used in your house all the time, and especially laundry soap. Laundry, because you're sleeping in it, you're breathing in whatever you're wearing that day. You are potentially putting those toxins out into the air in your house because you're washing them and they're going through your dryer, and then you're also venting them out into Mother Earth too. But laundry soap, laundry detergent is really something that I try to get everybody to look at first. And then the most important thing that I try to get people to understand, and anything you use, shampoo, deodorant, lotion, cleaning supplies, which are the most, they use this the most, is the word fragrance. So the word fragrance, sometimes it's perfume, sometimes it's perfume. It's not regulated. Basically, and it's from the 1940s, from Chanel No. 5, came to the government and said, we don't want to tell them what's in our product because it's a trade secret. So they said, all right, it's a fragrance. So anybody that uses the word fragrance, and this is true, it's unbelievable to me, this day and age, it's still a law that you do not have to say what is in your product. Sunscreen, take that for an example. They've been finding benzene in the sunscreen.
Yeah.
Benzene is known to be in fragrance as well. So if it has a scent or a smell and you think that's lemon flavored, or you think that's vanilla or lilac or whatever, it's not. And it's a bunch of chemicals, which many are known carcinogens, put in these products that they want you to think your hair is smelling that good, or your clothes, or your cleaning supply. So that's a number one thing I try to get people off of is fragrance. It's really, I think, the most toxic thing that is out there. And anything that you use, candles, another one, horrible, the fragrance that they put in there. And then you're burning these chemicals in your home that are just, you're breathing them in. So that's the most important thing. I think if you start there, you're making a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah. So it's now been about 10 years that I've been working on Shield Your Body. And two of the biggest changes to my personal thinking have been, one I already said, which is so much of life is actually toxic right now. And then the other is what you just touched on, which is the sham that regulations are in so many different sectors, and tech obviously being one of them. And we've learned actually on previous episodes of this podcast about things like fragrance and other components or ingredients of these things that we surround ourselves with, that they just let them get away with everything. Now, there's certain other areas of tech. Obviously, with SYB, we focus on EMF, but on this podcast and with Healthier Tech, we try to expand that, and we look at toxic impacts of technology, beyond just the radiation emissions that come from them. And I'm about to ask the question, so I appreciate your patience with this. Going back to what you talked about at the very start of the podcast, where a toxin is something that can be avoided. Do you view your technology, any aspect of modern technology, as toxic or potentially toxic? And have you modified your behaviors in light of that, in light of how you view toxins?
Yes, I do. And I see people walking around with ear pods, and it freaks me out a little bit, because how the signals, how is that getting to your ear pod from your phone? I mean, that's just one thing I that just came to my mind.
No, I agree.
I'm wired in, if I can be wired in, I'm going to be wired in. So yes. Now, is that my specialty? No, but do I talk about it a lot? And specifically?
Oh yeah, no, but in your life, I mean, right, we all use tons of technology.
Yep.
And
everybody wants it wireless.
Yep.
And I try not to, but I have to have the technology around me. I have to have certain things around me, but I'm pretty low. I don't have a lot of wireless stuff. It's just really my router. We're not a huge tech type people, except for my cell phone. But
and so yeah, do you find yourself looking at your relationship with your cell phone as something that should be managed because of its potential for toxicity?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm like, if my husband doesn't turn his phone off at night, I'm like, get that out of the room.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's got it. And that scares me a lot with people, especially these young kids, that their brains are starting to develop, and all of the they're all sleeping with their phones.
Yeah.
And that's just the start of everything that they're being inundated with. We grew up with no cell phones. So for that matter, yes. It's hard. It's hard. And it's hard talking to people about all that too, because they can't see it. It's not an ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You
right.
really, right.
And it's baked in. It's really baked
Yes.
into our lives in a different way, I think. And, so there's a toxicity part of the technology, of course, but also, the opposite side of that is that it's baked into our life, phones and technology, because it can be helpful. In what ways have you found ways that utilizing and leveraging tech has actually been helpful for getting your message out or educating people? Like, are there places where you think that the tech is really actually helpful? and spreading your word and your vision?
Well, in the sense that I can refer people to different apps and websites that they can plug in products, and I don't just tell them how bad dryer sheets are. I send them
Right.
somewhere, and they can see that on a scale of 1 to 10, the amount of chemicals in there that could cause cancer. Things like that, yes. So when it comes to using certain apps to help having people guide them through decreasing the toxins in their homes, yes, then that regards. And also um, 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 the EMF, I mean, determining how much EMF is in our homes and what you guys do too. So, I mean, there's my focus, not that tech and EMF is not my focus, but my core focus is personal care products and
Sure. So were you
the
referring to
air we
the
breathe.
apps that help people understand the toxicity of various
Mhm.
products?
Yes.
What are some of those apps?
Well, the Environmental Working Group has a great app that is, you can find that on their website, but you can even go to their website. And even when you're shopping, you can, this barcode,
Yeah,
scan code?
UPC.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
UPC. Most items, I think they have like 80,000 items in there. I can't remember. It'll tell you what the toxicity level of certain products are when you
Really?
go to
I
buy
did
them.
not.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
aware of the EWG, but I was not aware of that app.
Yeah, EWG, and I have them at my fingertips if you want me to tell you what they are. Healthy Living is one. Think Dirty is another. Detox Me is another. There's a bunch. Silent Spring, I think, came out with a new one. I don't know if you know Silent Spring.
I do.
Healthy Living is environmental working groups.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't personally use them because I don't.
well, you've been
I
that's
am an
already
app.
been ingrained, and you're not going out and buying
Oh
Tide
yeah,
or
totally.
yeah.
I love going through people's homes because people say, "Would you just come in my bathroom and just show
Right.
me?"
Yeah,
So
you're like
I am their app.
you're
Yeah.
the Marie Kondo of toxins.
Oh
You
yeah,
just
there's
Yeah,
totally.
I feel like it's like when you start actually thinking about, you gave an anchor point of fragrance. It's such a great anchor point in the home. And I mean, everything has a fragrance. And then, when I start thinking about it, I was sitting here listening to you talk, and my face was like, because there's like the identifying it, but then the what do you do about it? Like,
Mhm.
what is, so if somebody is concerned and they want to take that first step and they're like, okay, so laundry detergent is a perfect, it makes, our clothes smell good. It's hard to get away from. What's the alternative? What would be something that someone could do if they want to get rid of being dependent on these laundry detergents that are so heavily fragranced? What's the alternative?
The alternative are there's many different companies that are making soaps, laundry soaps that clean your laundry as well without using all the chemicals and the fragrance chemicals.
And
And
if people were interested, is this the kind of thing? Because I noticed in addition to your Teas Organics store,
yeah,
you also have an Amazon store.
I
Are the
do. I have so many things on that Amazon store. I do that just as a reference for people. Believe me,
right? So that's what I was going to ask. Are like some of these
yeah,
detergents that
yeah,
you're talking
absolutely.
about? Can they be
Yep.
found in that
Yep.
store?
Meloria is one. Molly Suds is another. Seventh Generation is decent too. I mean, that's the most popular you'll find at Target and
Yes.
many of. So, if you can even make that change, no. And you said something. You said our laundry wants to smell good. So that has been ingrained in our brains that our laundry has to smell. And unfortunately, that smell came from the chemical companies that put those smells together that make you believe that that's a fresh scent. And unfortunately, that is such a toxic smell. If people really knew what was making that smell, the 30 different ingredients that went in there, if you saw them putting these concoctions together with these chemicals that people have hazmat suits on, making them.
Right.
And then putting them in your laundry soap. You might not sleep in it. You might, and I've gotten more people be like, the smell, I grew up with it. I love it. And then I start training them about, this is what you are sleeping in. And then I have friends who have constant sniffles, and people, just do me a favor.
Yes.
Let's get rid of this and watch your sniffles go away. Watch your sore throat go away when you wake up in the morning. Your eyes, maybe might not burn as much. These are chemicals that you are sleeping in and breathing in all day, and they can make you very sick. I have a sister that has an autoimmune illness. If she comes in contact with any fragrance like this, it immediately triggers a migraine in her, and if it's really bad, it can send her to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And it goes to show you what they can do to your body. I mean, I've had so many people that have gotten off bad laundry soap and dryer sheets, and they all of a sudden realized, like, oh my God, my headache went away, my sore throat that I wake up with every morning, sniffles, always blowing your nose. I mean, these are common things that these chemicals do. They're irritants.
So I just real quick, your opinion is Dr. Bronner's okay, or have I been
loved?
conned?
Oh my God, I love Dr. Bronner's.
Okay, good.
Amazing. I use Dr. Bronner's for my hand soap. I wash my face in Dr. Bronner's. I use the baby soap because it's got the least amount of anything in it, but anything Dr. Bronner's is amazing. I wash the dog in it. We wash our hair in it. I do the dishes.
Wow, I picked the right brand to ask, huh?
Totally.
Yeah.
I forgot to even bring that up. Yeah, Dr. Bronner's is amazing. It really is. And they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's just with their label. I can't tell if it's really good for me or if they've just done brilliant branding that makes me assume it's good for me. So
Yeah.
I appreciate hearing it from an expert.
One of the challenges is that, these companies will see, they see the trend. They see that there's an uptick of people who want stuff that is more healthy for them. So they look at these successful brands like Dr. Bronner's, and they try to market in a similar fashion. They find what works, and then they trick you into
it's like how you
thinking-
just kind of assume that anything you buy at Trader Joe's is good for you, even though it's like the same stuff that you would get at Kmart, just in a fancier package.
Right. Yeah, you got to read your labels and know your ingredients. That's what I always tell everybody.
And you've given us the tools, some of those tools too. So key takeaways are to change your cleaning, your all-purpose cleaner, hopefully to tease.
Not only all-purpose cleaner, these cleaning companies make you want to think you need 6 products.
Yes.
Well, but for glass, glass does streak if you use an all-purpose cleaner, doesn't it?
I use it on my glass, but some people need to have I'm
going to have to try it. I'm going to have to try it. Yeah. So we have changing your cleaners and changing your laundry detergent.
Yes.
Installing one of these apps that maybe that we'll be linking to from the show notes.
Yes.
Where else would you like our listeners to connect with you, T?
So they can connect with me. Everything's listed on the website. All my social media is on the website. The podcast is on the website, the blog, and it's thegreenlivinggurus.com.
And the podcast is also linked off of there, and that's Green Living with T.
Correct.
And that's a great resource for anyone interested in learning more about toxins and hearing T's take on that, interviewing people from a wide variety of backgrounds. T, this has been a really wonderful conversation, a really wonderful chat. I really like, we covered a lot that I like. Like I said, I didn't even know about these apps, but the way that we started, and by talking not just about the intentional exclusion of Murphy from your website, but the way that you view your definition of toxins. That's the first time I've asked that question. And since your answer was so good, I think I'm gonna have to ask that all the time, because it really helped kind of open my mind to this discussion. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to come join us on the Healthier Tech podcast.
You are very welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthier Tech podcast. Remember to check the show notes for all the links and resources mentioned in the show. Please like and subscribe to the Healthier Tech podcast on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. Get your free quick start guide to building a healthier relationship with technology and our latest information at healthiertech.co.